And our top focus this hour is the latest on Afghanistan-Pakistan tensions. 5 people have been killed and 6 wounded in brief cross-border fire between Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Now, and this is an incident where both the countries blame each other. The development comes as talks are underway in Istanbul in a third round of engagement aimed at ending cross-border terrorism and consolidating a fragile ceasefire that was initially agreed upon after border clashes last month.
Afghanistan spokesperson Habizullah Mujahid, in a post on social media, accused Pakistan forces of open firing on Spin Boldak region, adding that Afghan Taliban has not retaliated out of respect for the negotiating team. Also to prevent civilian casualties is what he said. However, he highlighted that in the previous rounds of talks, both sides had agreed to extend the ceasefire and prevent any act of aggression.
Pakistan denied the accusations and put the blame on Afghanistan. The country's information ministry said the firing was initiated from the Afghan side, to which its security forces responded immediately, but in a measured and responsible manner. According to reports citing officials at the Spin Boldak district hospital in Afghanistan, 5 people, 4 women and 1 man, have died in the incident. 6 others have been wounded. Now, there are no immediate reports of victims from the Pakistani side.
Negotiations in Istanbul reached an impasse last week that came to finalizing ceasefire details, with each side accusing the other of not being willing to cooperate. In fact, both sides also warned of a resumption of hostilities, that is, in case of failure of the ceasefire deal.
Security issues are at the heart of the dispute between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Islamabad accuses Kabul of harboring militant groups, particularly the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan (TTP), a claim that the Taliban government rejects. All right, to discuss more, we're now being joined by Dov Zakhim, one from Washington, D.C. He is a former Undersecretary of Defense in George W. Bush administration and currently a senior advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Thank you so much for joining us. Looking at the clashes that are happening right now, how fragile do you think the ceasefire is in context of the talks being held in Turkey?
Well, no ceasefire is guaranteed. And obviously, the TTP people have every interest, I think, in causing trouble, causing friction between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And I'm not sure that they would really want to see a ceasefire. Both sides accuse each other. That's normally the case when you have hostilities or near hostilities. And of course, the fire doesn't help because, again, as you reported, each side blames the other for the deaths, for the fire, and so on. So given that the TTP has been a long-standing problem for Islamabad, it's not clear to me that this ceasefire would necessarily hold. It could, but fragility tends to accompany ceasefires.
Right. Mr. Zakhim, a follow-up question. In your view, what role do you think the Arab countries have at this stage in ensuring that there is a long-term solution that we are looking at?
Well, I mean, nobody wants to see any kind of hostilities in this part of the world. India is, after all, a nuclear power. Pakistan is a nuclear power. And Afghanistan is still trying to find its way. I mean, after all said and done, the Taliban still is not really operating internationally as a legitimate government. It's there, but the economy in Afghanistan is hurting very badly. And so there's a lot of tension here. And given all of that, there's clearly an international interest, given what's going on in Gaza, given what's going on right now in the Caribbean, the tensions there, the tensions in East Asia with China bullying its neighbors. The last thing the world needs is another clash that could drag Pakistan again into some kind of conflict. So one hopes that the ceasefire discussions in Turkey will eventually lead to a true ceasefire. I think it's in the interest of both Afghanistan, which has to get its economy in order, and Pakistan, which wants stability. It's in the interest of both to really control any kind of terrorism, whichever side of the border it's coming from.
Right, and how about the role of U.S.? I know that Trump, we also know that Trump has been one leader who has also said that he has been able to resolve a lot of wars. Do you think there would be involvement of the U.S. in this, and will Trump may play a role here too?
Well, you know, Mr. Trump claimed that he was able to calm the tensions between India and Pakistan, and as you know, at least the Indians were not very happy with that. They felt that this was worked out locally in the region. And after all said and done, Trump still is dealing with Putin in Russia. He's dealing with the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire. He has to make sure that the first one works. And there's a buildup, as I mentioned, in the Caribbean. He's just talked about Nigeria. He's got a lot on his plate internationally. And then, of course, our government is still shut down. And he's becoming more and more involved in that, as he needs to be. So he's got an awful lot on his plate. And maybe at some point he'll turn to this. Both sides would have to want him to. But it seems to me right now, given that Mr. Erdogan and Turkey are clearly trying to broker a deal, why not let them go ahead and do it without necessarily us getting involved in some ways, making it more difficult for Turkey to pursue what it's trying to do. Let's see if the Turks succeed. We would hope they would.
Yes, Mr. Zakim, point taken, and needless to say that Trump had earlier claimed that he will ensure that the hostilities between the two countries come to an end. Appreciate you joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you.